greatest speech I have in celebrating the life of my dad. Have you ever heard of a story so amazing, a story of life and death and never given up? Well, once upon a time, before I came into this world, there was born a man the universe had decided to bless this world with his love and kindness. He came from the stars and fell upon this world, and the story of greatness began. He was born youngest in the family of 10. This must be because he had a big burden to bear. The Lord had gifted him the greatness of a big heart, in which his love was to shine the way for those he would come across. His parents loved and adored him very much, but his devotion to his parents was even greater. He took great pride in taking care of his parents, much more so than all his siblings combined. His kindness, integrity, and perseverance was instilled in him from the very first day he was born into this world. It wasn't long before the burden of his destiny was to challenge him, and at 25 years into his life was when tragedy and war broke out and broke his spirit. In 1974, he lost both parents and his siblings to the travesty of an ensuing war. Starvation, famine, and disease was only a fraction of the suffering his family endured, along with the whole country. When his entire family passed, so did his will to survive. He was lost and horrified, tragically broken by a fate that is only fathomable in the depths of hell. His only niece and her 2 children was the last piece of hope there is to living a life of meaning and purpose. When he was stricken with intense grief from losing his entire family all in the same year, his niece helped nurse him back to health. During this time, war and tragedy had devastated the once peaceful country they had called paradise. In every corner they turned, his life was threatened by the people of the country who he thought were his brothers. The people he knew, the kids he grew up with, the townspeople, and those strangers that began to look like family were all fleeing for their lives. As men, women, and children started dying by the hundreds, from bullets, knives, starvation, and disease, he was able to find the courage and strength to help his niece, his great-niece, and his great-nephew. There were times when giving into the war was greater than the will to survive, but he was overcome with a spirit to help his remaining family find safety. They struggled far and wide. They struggled far and wide, wider than the tumultuous river they had to cross to get closer to safety. He put his nephew on his shoulders and held his niece's hand and pulled him along behind him through a raging river that nearly swallowed them by the whole. In 1979, when the country was still in war, he met his soulmate and his life partner. They met in another lifetime before this one and must have been in a relationship of intense love because the attraction and the familiarity was instant. He helped her survive. He was the pillar of strength for his wife, supporting, protecting, and caring for her like the way God had intended. He held her hand the entire way. Through the pain and the suffering, he showed her how to persevere. He had 3 children and a nephew later in life. He worked hard to give his family a better quality of life, sacrificing his own needs to meet the dream he had to take care of the family he was able to make. He was a selfless man, putting his family's needs before his. He had close friends who he called his brothers and sisters, and young ones who came into his life who he called his children. He was no ordinary man, and the life he lived was the burden of being born a man with a big heart. He spread his love without any conditions, showing anybody and everybody kindness and compassion. You can call him a saint, an angel, a friend, but I am so honored and proud that this man, I was able to call him my pa. I love you, Dad.